Awareness, our claim is, actually changes things. This dual awareness is part and parcel of a metabolic process that we have available in our sort of psycho-spiritual physical organisms. We have this available to us, but it's not that often activated. But when you activate it in the spirit of digestion, just like when food is digested and we produce molecules like ATP to fuel the biological system, when we activate this digestive process on our impressions, we actually produce substances of a kind that have a finer energy, that provide a quality of awareness, a quality of spaciousness, and a quality of consciousness, which is at best only experienced accidentally and occasionally in our lives. But by putting attention on this digestive process and putting attention both on what's coming in and what's arising internally, we have the opportunity of actually intentionally allowing a natural inborn digestive mechanism to function fully, which will then reliably begin to create within ourselves a kind of interior spaciousness which allows us to grow spiritually.
So, if we follow out this idea that Stuart's proposing here of digestion, we can, of course, view digestion as just another form of composting, but this sort of technical.
Right. Back to composting. You're the gardener.
But
I like to eat.
That's right. But there's another metaphor that we can play with here a little bit to help us understand the different kind of digestion or composting that Stuart's describing. There's we're all familiar with the idea that some organisms, especially ruminants like cows, have at least two separate stomachs, two separate organs for digestion. And in fact, there's something akin to composting that happens in those organs, because the substances that the cows are eating are not that highly nutritious. Something needs to happen to them to release the the nutritive value of the food that's being eaten. And the process that Stuart is describing of observation, of witnessing, of substances that will become food for the organism and be digested by the organism, can go in one normal direction by which these substances are digested in the ordinary way, or with the addition of this witnessing that Stuart was describing, it can go in a different direction. And the food, the impression food, can feed another part of the organism than is usually the recipient of nutrition. That second part of the organism that can receive nutrition rarely receives it after childhood. Children have the capacity to convert impression food spontaneously in a way that allows this other part of the organism to receive nutrition. But adults lose that capacity because we are trained in childhood to redirect the impression food to the part of the organism that is designed to help us follow the rules of society. And that means that all the impressions get routed to this part of the organism that Stuart described, such that we are trained, and we train ourselves, both unconsciously and to some extent consciously, eventually, to give our energy and the nutrition of our impressions to the part of consciousness that we've been told will make us happy. If you get married, get a job, support your family, support the community, you know, are a great lover, are this, that, and the other thing, then you'll be happy. Those are the rules and strictures and injunctions that we are given. And because we have no reason to disbelieve that that's the situation, we create the habit of directing the nutrition of the impression food that comes into us to that part of the organism that contains all those rules and injunctions and so forth. And so this other, actually senior part of the organism is starved of impression food by the time we become adults. And we feel great longing. We feel something missing. We feel that things are not right, that we've been sold a bill of goods, that there is an existential zero at the heart of the world, an existential black hole that eats things. But it's not an existential black hole that's eating things. It's our habit of directing impression food to the wrong part of our organisms. I was having a phone conversation with a student who lives in Tucson, last night actually, and this woman, you know, as many of us do, has a lot of demands in her life, and sometimes those demands weigh down so much. The responsive products of digestion happening in this part of the organism that contains all the injunctions, rules, regulations, prescriptions for happiness that society tells us are true, can get clogged up, can get very heavy. And when that happens, people feel unable to do the sorts of things that in another situation they would feel perfectly light and free to do, like a kid playing with a toy. But when we are encumbered with the products of digestion, the products of composting, that do not move in the way that they're meant to be able to move, then we get stuck. And it's just, in one sense, a matter of these products of digestion, of impression food, going to the wrong place and clogging the arteries, as it were. And it's easy to change those things if you know the trick to do it, because you can just redirect those nutritive impressions to a different part of the organism, and suddenly life feels different.
But I want to jump in here now because Rob makes it sound very easy. And this process is not easy because the habit patterns of identifying ourselves with this more mechanical part of ourselves, which Rob was describing, is a very, 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 very